A Secret Service agent assigned to Vice President Kamala Harris's detail brawled with another agent on Monday. A shift supervisor and special agent in charge tried to claim the agent, who was starting to get aggressive, and then a physical altercation ensued.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about one of Kamala Harris's Secret Service agents getting into a fist fight with other agents and then being hospitalized for a mental condition after this whole thing played out. Now, this situation was preventable in my humble opinion, and I think the reason why it wasn't prevented is because of some unrelated things. And when I say unrelated, I mean not related to the point of protecting the vice president, because your Secret Service, that's your job. You're there to protect whoever you're detailing, whether it be the president, vice president, whoever. That's your job. I don't think this woman was on the job for that specific reason only. I think there was a bigger reason. Now, before we get too far into it, let's just give you the visual, get into an article, and really just understand what's happening. You see the headline here on Daily Mail. And of course, I will link to everything in the box. But it says Kamala's Secret Service agents brawl. Armed agent, because they do have guns on them, of course. So if you're fist fighting, it's kind of nervous because the gun might come out and somebody might get deleted. But anyway, armed agent assigned to vice president gets into a fight with a colleague and has gun taken off her. So during the process of this fist fight, literal, not, we ain't talking about just arguing and loud talk. We're talking about actual fisticuffs. During that process, the woman right here, Miss Michelle Herzog, 43 years old, she was actually disarmed, okay? Now, Kamala Harris was not there at the time. She was on the way. So I guess Kamala was getting ready to go somewhere, and the agents are waiting on her at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. Before Kamala gets there, the fight breaks out, and they have to remove this woman from the scene, and I guess they Walter Reeded her. They 5150 her. They 3-day holded her. I know I'm saying the words improperly, but you understand what I mean. They had to remove her because she had a mental breakdown right there on the job. Now, let's get into some of the details. Agent got into a physical fight with, let's say her. This is a woman. This is Michelle Herzog. That's her right there. Her fellow agents at Joint Base Andrews. A Secret Service confirmed agent on VP's detail began displaying behavior their colleagues found distressing. The vice president was not in danger. Okay, so let's get into it. Real Clear Politics identified the agent as Michelle Herzog, a female agent on Harris's security detail. Of course, Secret Service sources, Herzog arrived for duty acting erratically. So as soon as she got on duty, she's acting crazy. Grabbing a fellow agent's personal phone and started deleting apps from it. Now, before we go any further, ask yourself this question. Why would a female agent grab a fellow agent's phone and begin deleting apps? Why are we deleting apps? What's going on? Please, please, please don't tell me that somebody was fornicating with this lady on the job. I don't want to hear that come out. I really don't, because you guys got to stop. All right. You guys out there got to stop, because this lady was crazy. Or, excuse me, she had mental challenges. That's probably the best word. She had mental challenges long before this scene played out. So if anybody on that Secret Service team was fornicating with this lady, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. But let's continue. She was also mumbling to herself, hiding behind curtains and throwing items at fellow agents, including menstrual pads, according to the report. Now, what I read in a different article, it might have been on Real Clear Politics, she threw the pads at the agents, talking about you're going to need that for later, meaning maybe she's going to beat somebody up or hurt somebody, and you're going to need that to stop the bleeding. I don't really know why she allegedly said that, but that's what I read. Now, she also told her fellow agents that they would burn in hell and needed to listen to God. You're having a mental breakdown. This is very distressing, very disturbing for a Secret Service agent. All right. I don't want, listen, if I'm anybody, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Okay. And then there was something else. She previously worked for Dallas Police Department, and she sued them for $1 million in the gender discrimination lawsuit. This is back in 2016. Also back in 2016, since we're right here talking about that time, this, I believe, is when she was starting to get onboarded with Secret Service. And they said during this process that she was hearing voices, but for some reason that was ignored. Now, if you are going to be any kind of agent, Secret Service, police, FBI, any kind of security detail, maybe you might not be suited for their job if you're hearing voices. Okay. Now, I'm no doctor, I'm no psychologist, but last I checked, hearing voices was a sign of schizophrenia. I'm not saying that she does have it. I'm not saying that's the only way you can hear voices in your head. But again, maybe if you're hearing voices, being a Secret Service agent is not the job for you. I don't know what you could do, but not that. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. And again, that's her. This is her when she was on Dallas PD, as you can see right there on her left hand shoulder. All right. Now let's keep on going. Sources said the agent in charge, the special agent in charge, and a detailed shift supervisor tried to calm her after she began exhibiting aggressive behavior, but she tackled the senior agent in charge of security detail and began punching him. Although Herzog was armed, her weapon remained in the holster until she was disarmed by her colleagues. She was handcuffed and removed from the terminal. The Secret Service confirmed an agent on the vice president's detail began displaying behavior their colleagues found distressing and was removed from duty on Monday. Harris is at her home at the Naval Observatory when the incident occurred, according to Secret Service, and there was no impact to her travel plans. So luckily the president wasn't there, but imagine if that breakdown happened while they were away somewhere. They're overseas, they're in Scotland, they're in Ireland, whatever, and then all of a sudden she starts just, acting the fool, kirking out, as the cool kids say, throwing menstrual pads. Man, you can't have that. But again, this kind of thing, in my humble opinion, was preventable. It surely was. So it says the protective divisions for the president and vice president are considered the most important duties of the Secret Service agency, as only the most qualified agents are typically appointed to the job. Well, I mean, if you're hearing voices in your head and you're throwing menstrual pads, how qualified are you? I'm not really understanding what's going on. We'll continue. A Real Clear Politics reporter revealed on social media that sources within the Secret Service questioned whether the agent in question was still on duty as a consequence of diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI practices. Now, speaking about that, let's go to the Real Clear Politics article. Okay, so now they're saying, look, what's going on? Are we talking about DEI? Why are you still in the force? Now, be clear. There are other female agents in Secret Service, but there may have been a push to get more, so you may overlook certain things like your troubles in Dallas with the lawsuit, the alleged hearing voices. I don't think this was the first time she exhibited aggressive behavior or disturbing behavior. I think this time it got out of control. And the agents themselves are questioning whether it was DEI that kept her on the team, because she already had problems before this. Let's keep on going. All right. And of course, I'll link to everything in the box. Let's see. An incident involving a physical attack by a female Secret Service agent tasked with protecting Vice President Kamala Harris is raising questions about whether the agency had thoroughly vetted her during her hiring and whether an ongoing push to increase the numbers of women in the service and boost overall workforce staff played a role in her selection. Well, maybe that might be the case. So they're kind of going through what happened again. All right, deleting apps and everything. Oh, and then when she was taking the phone and deleting apps, the agent just went on with his day and it was like nothing happened. It wasn't really a big deal. So red flag ignored, I suppose. All right, let's keep on going. Oh, here's more detail. Herzog also screamed at the special agent in charge, rattling off the names of female officers on the vice president's detail and claiming they would show up and help her and allow her to continue working. At that point, other agents on the scene believed Herzog was suffering from mental lapse, and a superior officer, SAIC, approached her to tell her she was relieved from the assignment. That's when she snapped entirely, went off the rails, tackling, punching, and everything else. It was crazy, totally crazy. And my thing is, there may not be anything here that would incriminate her criminally in her past. But if you're going to be a Secret Service agent, I would think there's a high level, a high standard that you got to reach in order to be that. Some things that she may have been involved in may not have prevented her from being a cop somewhere else in a smaller place where you're not, dealing with really important things in high stress environments. You could be a beat cop on the dirt road, something like that. But to be at this level, there should be a certain level that you got to reach that is beyond just regular everyday work. But as I close, I want to say this. Hopefully, we don't have a problem with Secret Service. That'd be an issue. We don't want to just have any old Tom, Dick, and Harry on the force. We don't want to have diversity, equity, and inclusion dictate who we have to protect the president, vice president, and everything else. Look, I'm no Kamala Harris fan, but let's not get these random people who have mental issues to protect her. I don't think that's right. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's going on here with the Secret Service? Do you think that DEI played a role here? Okay, you're hearing voices, you got previous issues, and it appears to be ignored. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys should know where I'm at. I think that this woman was allowed to stay in her role and was even put on because, hey, we're trying to get more women and we want to have more diversity. Look, I don't care if everybody's 100% white male or what they identify as. Let's get the best of the best in there. That's it. Your gender, your race, whatever shouldn't play a role in the selection process, especially when you have to lower the standards to do it. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.